Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens met a human warship. What happened next shocked the galaxy. The Galactic Union had existed for over 15,000 cycles, uniting more than 300 species across 12 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Their civilization thrived on cooperation, consensus, and the gradual evolution away from conflict that seemed inevitable for any species that survived long enough to reach the stars. The Union exploration vessel, Harmony of Worlds, drifted silently at the edge of charted space, its organic hull pulsing gently with bioluminescent patterns that reflected the crew's collective mood. Curious anticipation. Chief Observer Jellan stood motionless on the sensory deck, all 6 of his primary eyes closed in deep concentration as his mind interfaced directly with the ship's detection systems. "Director Taylise," Zelen called suddenly, his voice carrying an unusual tremor of excitement. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from Sector 87 Delta. The patterns suggest artificial origin, but they don't match any known Union technology." Director Taylise glided across the bridge, her translucent body shifting through shades of blue to green, a physiological response indicating intense interest. "Show me," she commanded. The holographic display materialized between them, revealing energy patterns that pulsed with strange regularity. The emissions were powerful and focused in a way Union technology never utilized. "How far?" Taylise asked. "Approximately 3 light days from our position," Zalen replied. "The signatures suggest a vessel of considerable size." Taylise didn't hesitate. "Set course immediately, alert the first contact team." As the Harmony of Worlds altered its trajectory, words spread quickly throughout the vessel. The Union hadn't encountered a new spacefaring species in over 300 cycles. Every crew member felt the weight of this moment. They might be the first to welcome another civilization into the galactic community. After a short jump through transdimensional space, the Harmony emerged near the coordinates. For several moments, their sensors detected nothing unusual. "The emissions have stopped," Zelen reported with disappointment. Then something shifted in the darkness ahead. At first, it appeared to be merely a shadow moving against the distant stars. Then the ship's illumination caught it, a massive vessel, dark and angular. The ship's design was unlike anything in Union records. Where Union vessels were smooth and organic, this craft was geometric and segmented. "Visual contact," announced Salen unnecessarily. Everyone on the bridge could see the magnified image displayed across the forward viewing membrane. Most alarming were the protrusions covering its hull, unmistakably weapon systems, dozens of them, oriented in patterns that would allow coverage from any angle of approach. "Size comparison?" Talas asked quietly. "Approximately twice our mass," Galleon replied. "Heavily armored, those aren't defensive fields like ours, they're actual metallic plating reinforced with composite materials. It's a warship," someone whispered. The concept sent a chill through the bridge. The notion of dedicated warships was ancient history to the Union. Their historical records showed that all advanced civilizations eventually outgrew the need for military vessels, focusing instead on cooperation and mutual benefit. "Open communications," Taylise ordered, her skin now pulsing with cautious yellow patterns. "Standard first contact protocols." Communications specialist Yun activated the universal greeting sequence, mathematical patterns and simple atomic structures that any technologically advanced species should recognize as intelligent communication. The crew waited in tense silence. The Union's first contact procedures were well established, but rarely used. They relied on the assumption that any species advanced enough for interstellar travel would have evolved beyond violence and territoriality. The foreign vessel remained motionless, its dark hull absorbing the light from a distant star. Then unexpectedly, it brightened as external illumination activated across its surface, revealing intricate details of its construction. The light highlighted symbols on its hull, presumably its identification or name. "They're responding," Hume announced, surprise evident in her voice. "Receiving transmission across multiple frequencies." "Can you decipher it?" Talas asked. "Working on it," Yum replied. "Their communication structure is efficient, logical. The translation matrix is adapting quickly." After several tense minutes, Yum's expression brightened. I have partial translation. They identify themselves as Earthship Hyperion. They claim to be on a peaceful exploration mission and request information exchange. Earth, Talais questioned. No record of such a world or species in our database. They call themselves humans, Hume continued. They're requesting visual communication. Director, there's a fundamental contradiction here, she whispered. They claim peaceful intentions, yet their vessel is clearly designed for war. Every aspect of its construction prioritizes offense and defense. Perhaps they interpret peace differently, Talais suggested. Mel shook her head. I've analyzed the limited historical data they shared. Their entire development seems shaped by conflict, wars, competitions, territorial disputes. They evolved as a predator species and carried that mentality into their technological advancement. And yet they've achieved space travel without destroying themselves, Talais noted. Yes, but how? Mel wondered. According to all our sociological models, a species that maintains militaristic structures should have collapsed long before achieving interstellar capability. On the screen, Captain Chen waited patiently, her expression open, her words friendly, yet she commanded a vessel designed for destruction unlike anything the Union had built in thousands of cycles. We should proceed with caution, Mel advised. This species doesn't follow our expected patterns of development. They represent an unknown variable. Talais nodded, her skin now rippling with complex patterns of uncertainty and curiosity. Inform Union Command. Request diplomatic and scientific support. This first contact may reshape our understanding of civilizational development. As she turned back to continue the conversation with the human captain, Talais couldn't help but wonder what other surprises these humans might hold, and what their emergence might mean for a galaxy that had known only peaceful expansion for millennia. The following day, a Union delegation boarded the Hyperion for further discussions. The human ship's interior was as surprising as its exterior, efficient, functional, but also displaying art and music that spoke of a rich cultural heritage. Captain Chen led them through corridors where crew members worked with practiced efficiency, nodding respectfully to the alien visitors. Your vessel contains contradictions we find difficult to reconcile, Talais admitted as they reached a conference room designed to accommodate the Union delegation's diverse physiologies. It has capabilities for both creation and destruction. Captain Chen smiled. That's humanity in a nutshell, Director. We contain multitudes, as one of our poets said. We've fought wars, yes, but we've also created symphonies that can move beings to tears. We've developed weapons, but also medicines that have saved billions of lives. Our historical models suggest that a species must outgrow conflict to achieve interstellar travel, Mel interjected. Yet you've maintained military capabilities. We didn't outgrow conflict, Chen acknowledged. We learned to channel it. Competition drives our innovation, but cooperation sustains our civilization. We're still evolving, still learning. The discussions continued for hours, with both sides sharing historical and scientific information. The humans were forthcoming about their history, the wars, the near extinctions, but also the achievements, the resilience, the art and philosophy that had emerged from their turbulent past. As the delegation prepared to return to their vessel, news reached them that the Union Council had convened an emergency session to discuss the human encounter. Director Talais was ordered to return immediately with all data collected. The Union Council gathered in the Great Dome on Centralia, the administrative hub of galactic governance. Representatives from 100 worlds debated the implications of the human discovery. Their technology suggests they've solved problems we haven't even considered, argued Counselor Vex of the silicon-based Lithians. They could be valuable allies. Their history is drenched in blood, countered Counselor Zim of the peaceful Florians. They build warships when they claim to seek peace. How can we trust such contradictory beings? High Elder Omen, who had led the council for over 40 cycles, raised his withered hand for silence. We have always believed that evolution follows a predictable path, that violence gives way to cooperation as species advance. These humans challenge our most fundamental assumptions. Unknown to the council, Defense Commander Pak was monitoring the debate with growing concern. A member of the rare Parisian species that had evolved in the radioactive aftermath of a supernova, Pak had always maintained that the Union's peaceful expansion left them vulnerable. Now, Faced with a species that combined advanced technology with military capability, he saw confirmation of his worst fears. Without council authorization, Pella ordered the Union Defense Fleet to the encounter zone. His intentions were clear: to neutralize the potential threat before it could spread. When Captain Chen was informed that a fleet of 30 Union vessels was approaching with active targeting systems, she realized the peaceful first contact was about to become something very different. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice calm but firm. "Defensive posture only, no aggressive actions unless directly fired upon." As klaxons sounded throughout the Hyperion, Chan opened a channel to Director Talais, who was still en route back to Union space. "Director, a fleet of your vessels is approaching with what appear to be hostile intentions. Please clarify, is this standard protocol?" Talais' image showed clear alarm. "No, Captain, this is not authorized. I'm attempting to contact." The transmission was cut short as the Union fleet arrived, surrounding the Hyperion in a standard containment formation. Commander Pax's face appeared on the main screen. "Human vessel, this is Defense Commander Pax of the Galactic Union. Your presence represents an unacceptable risk to Union security. Power down all systems immediately and prepare to be boarded." Captain Chen maintained her composure. "Commander, we've established peaceful relations with Director Talais and shared full information about our mission. There has been no aggression on our part." "Your very existence is aggression," Pax replied coldly. "A species with your history and capabilities cannot be allowed free access to Union space. I will not repeat my warning." As the Union vessels charged their energy projectors, Captain Chen made a decision that would echo across the galaxy for centuries to come. Resolution and new understanding. "All hands prepare for defensive action," Captain Chen announced calmly over the shipwide communications. "Aegis protocol, minimal countermeasures only." The Hyperion's crew moved with practiced precision, their training evident in every motion. Unlike the Union vessels, whose crews rarely faced actual combat situations, the humans had prepared for this possibility throughout their careers. "Sir, they're targeting our primary propulsion and weapon systems," reported Tactical Officer Maya Patel, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Energy buildups detected in 27 Union vessels." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "They're trying to disable us, not destroy us. That shows restraint and potential for dialogue." "Should we return fire?" asked First Officer Midya Petrov. "Not yet," Chen replied. "Shields at maximum. Activate countermeasure Suite Alpha. Let's show them what human defensive technology can do." As the first wave of Union energy beams lanced toward the Hyperion, something unexpected happened. Instead of attempting to evade, the human ship remained stationary. A shimmering field appeared around the vessel, not the diffuse, absorptive shields used by Union ships, but a tightly focused energy barrier that bent and refracted the incoming attacks. Most astonishing to the Union observers, the Hyperion's shields didn't just block the attacks. They captured the energy, channeling it through the ship systems and redirecting it to strengthen the shields themselves. "Impossible," whispered Commander Pak as he watched from his flagship. "Their defensive technology is feeding on our attacks." For nearly 2 minutes, the Union fleet poured fire into the seemingly helpless vessel. Then the Hyperion responded, not with devastating counterattacks, but with a display of precision that left the Union forces stunned. Dozens of small objects launched from the human ship, each one targeting a different Union vessel, but these weren't weapons. They were autonomous drones that attached themselves to the Union ship's communication arrays. Suddenly, on every Union vessel's command deck, holographic projections appeared showing the interior of the Hyperion, where humans worked calmly at their stations. Captain Chen's voice reached every Union commander simultaneously. "This is Captain Alina Chen. We have temporarily linked to your communication systems to demonstrate that we could have targeted weapons instead of messages. We have neither destroyed nor disabled any of your vessels, though we had the capability to do so. We still seek peaceful contact." The Union fleet's attack faltered as commanders processed this unprecedented development. The humans had bypassed their defenses with ease, yet chosen communication over destruction. Commander Pax was not so easily swayed. "This is a trick," he declared. "All vessels focus fire on their communication nodes." Before the order could be carried out, a new vessel emerged from transdimensional space, the harmony of worlds with Director Tayley's. Her transmission cut across all channels. This is Director Tayley's with emergency override Thetan 9. Stand down immediately by direct order of the Union Council. Commander Pax, you have acted without authorization. The Union vessels ceased fire, though they maintained their positions surrounding the Hyperion. On the Council's emergency channel, High Elder Oman's voice carried undeniable authority. Commander Pax, your actions have brought us to the brink of an unnecessary conflict. Return to Centralia immediately. Director Tayley's will assume command of this operation. As tension slowly dissipated, Captain Chen opened a private channel to Director Tayley's. It seems we have much to discuss about our different approaches to security. Tayley's skin rippled with patterns that the translation system identified as deep embarrassment. Captain, I offer my profound apologies for this incident. Commander Pax acted without council approval. No apology needed, Chen replied. First contacts are always complicated. What matters is what happens next. What happened next would indeed reshape galactic history. 3 days later, in neutral space between the human and Union vessels, representatives from both civilizations met aboard a specially configured diplomatic shuttle. The human delegation, led by Captain Chen and Earth's newly appointed ambassador, Dr. Samuel Okoro, sat across from Director Tayley's and 7 council representatives. We have reviewed the sensor logs from the encounter, High Elder Oman began. Your restraint was unexpected. You could have destroyed our vessels, yet you chose to demonstrate capability without causing harm. That's fundamental to our approach to space exploration, Dr. Okoro explained. Earth's history taught us hard lessons about the cost of violence. We maintain defensive capabilities because we understand that not all species may share our commitment to peaceful contact. Yet your ship is clearly designed for warfare, objected Counselor Zim. For defense, corrected Captain Chen. Every weapon system on the Hyperion has non-lethal settings designed to disable rather than destroy. Our shields absorb and redirect energy rather than simply blocking it. Even our targeting systems prioritize minimum necessary force. This contradicts everything we understand about evolutionary development, Counselor Vex noted. Our species all followed similar paths. Conflict gave way to cooperation as the only sustainable model for advanced civilization. Dr. Okoro smiled. With respect, Counselor, that assumption reflects an environmental bias. Your species evolved in environments where resources were abundant and competition was minimal. Humans evolved on a world of scarcity and predation. We had to incorporate conflict into our cooperation model rather than transcending it entirely. For the next several hours, the 2 delegations exchanged perspectives on evolution, technology, and governance. The humans shared Earth's history, its wars and genocides, but also its art, literature, and the gradual development of global cooperation that had eventually led to unified space exploration. You've built a remarkable civilization, High Elder Oman acknowledged, different from ours in methodology, but perhaps not in ultimate goals. As formal diplomatic relations were established in the following weeks, cultural exchange began in earnest. Union scholars were fascinated by human art, the way it channeled emotions that many Union species had evolved beyond expressing directly. Humans, in turn, were amazed by Union biotechnology that had grown from their cooperative evolutionary paths. Commander Pax, after a formal censure from the Council, requested a private meeting with Captain Chen before his departure to the outer colonies. I still believe your species represents a potential threat, he stated bluntly. I understand, Chen replied. From your perspective, we're an anomaly, a contradiction to your understanding of how civilizations develop. Yet you had the power to destroy us and didn't use it, Pax acknowledged. That challenges my assumptions. Perhaps that's the greatest value of first contact, Chen suggested. It challenges everyone's assumptions. 6 months later, as the first permanent human embassy opened on Centralia, Ambassador Okoro addressed the full Union Council. Humanity and the Galactic Union represent different evolutionary paths to the stars. You evolved beyond conflict. We learned to channel conflict into creation. You built consensus, we built compromise. You seek harmony, we seek balance. Different paths, but perhaps complementary ones. How so? Asked High Elder Omen. The galaxy is vast and largely unexplored, Okuro replied.